Okay, next topic, briefly, only a few more minutes to go. Running your own workshops. I think we've probably covered a lot of the workshop stuff, but again, just to really maybe spell that out a little bit, whereas before we would do the workshop, the walk in, the walk out scenario, these days you've got to be a lot smarter. You know, you do need to be looking at developing a product out of a workshop, you know, because this becomes an income stream that's going to work forever, you know, or until it's not relevant anymore, but then you also got to have a higher value product. You know, for me, it's a 6-month coaching program, one-on-one, to build your presenting business. Now, don't be afraid of doing that stuff. I'm not up here, I'm not trying to, I don't think we've been a hard sell with anyone today. Does anyone feel it's been a hard sell about anything that we're doing? That's not how we operate. That's certainly not how I operate. But it's a product there because there are people that want to do it. I've already had 9 people, before they even did the workshops in Sydney, Brisbane, and Adelaide, and even here, have said, whatever your higher value product is, we want to buy it. And I went, wow, isn't that interesting? Because they know that that's how it works. But again, you're looking at it. So your workshop here, I said I'd be really quite transparent. For me, this workshop series that I've done and sold will generate about $40,000 worth of revenue in direct ticket sales. Out of that, you know, some will go to production, you know, accommodation, you know, my travel, all those usual bits and pieces will bring a chunk out of that, you know, but realistically, probably if I said there would be about $25,000 would end up as profit out of doing a workshop, with having 4 workshops of about 30 people and 1 in Adelaide of about 10 people. You know, so just again, from a numbers point of view, it's interesting to see how that stuff all fits together. But interestingly enough, even if I just broke even on the workshops, that wouldn't matter if I came out of it with a great product, which is where I would make my money from. And it was interesting, Tim Reed really drove that home for me, for those of you who are Tim Reed fans, and then talking to Dave again and planning it, strategizing it. You create a product there that's 3 or 4 or 5 years in duration, you know, etc. So, you know, you're kind of creating it for free. It won't work that way. I'll actually make some money out of this series because we're doing a joint venture on it. But interesting, but also the higher value product, over $10,000 product that I will probably sell about 10 or 15 of those, which obviously generates a lot of money. Okay, so that's the real model, is that side of things there. Now, it ain't just about the money though, because these 2 things are the most important. You've got to be authentic and you've got to give value. So I'm not going to give a 6-month coaching program to flog a 6-month coaching program. It is to deliver something of extraordinarily high value. Because if that part doesn't add up, and that part doesn't add up, then people, you know, no one comes back. People just feel ripped off. You know, you've got to be giving value every step of the way, and you're feeding into your network through your workshops, through your network, through your social media, through your PR, trust, building your credibility, all the things again that Dave was speaking about and we spoke about earlier. Most of you are from the KPI family, one way or another, and I would say you're here because of the credibility of me. You know, really, and again, I don't say that in an arrogant way. I respect that enormously, and I work hard at maintaining that credibility and, you know, being everything. But again, that's my network here from that side of things. So you just kind of got to mirror really what we're doing here today. And workshops are a great opportunity. As long as you've got great topics, you know, you've got to know that there's a topic there. You know, they're not that easy to fill a room. Everyone who's done workshops, I've done workshops badly and know how hard it is. But often I find a small number. I remember listening to T. Harv Eker, anyone who knows of T. Harv Eker's work, and one of the greatest stories, he said now he does an event and he's got to get 9,000 people to break even, you know, at an event. He said, how stressful is that? He said, if only I could go back to days when I had 6 people in my lounge room and I could actually, you know, be more about this than about, oh my God, I've got to find 9,000 people and have a staff of 200 and all the rest of it. So bigger is not always better. You know, I also did a course with Brendan Burchard in the States, and I remember saying to him, oh, you know, I want to be big in the American market. And he just looked at me and said, what on earth for? I said, oh, it's bigger, it's more exciting, there's more opportunity. He said there's 18,000 speakers at the Washington Speaker Bureau. There's so many competitors. It's difficult. It's hard. It's libelous. You get sued by everyone. He said, go home, go to Australia and be a big fish in a small pond. You know, a market you know, a market that knows you, a market where you're respected, all that kind of stuff. And it was very valuable advice from a guy who's about 12 and makes about $20 million a year. You know, you go, wow, interesting kind of stuff. So workshop side of things again, just that was a bit of a segue, but interesting. They're not as easy as you think, but you know, you've got to have a great topic and a good following to make workshops work. Great topic is really the key there. You know, a good model, you know, that model is what I would talk and say that that's a model where you're going to develop a product and, you know, work out of that as well. You know, a good process to follow. I've outlined in the workbook my steps that I take from that point of view. You know, there's 15 steps there. I'm not going to go through them. I think that they're pretty straightforward that you can work through there. But, you know, you should be doing workshops on your knowledge. It's a great opportunity. And you know what? I've got to say that too. So, yeah, no worries, guys. I love getting to know people a little bit more, and it's great to do a workshop and actually, you know, you do get to know people more. It's a wonderful element. If you're a people-y kind of person, that stuff really kind of works as well.